Chapter 281, You're Too Naive. Oh, what's the matter with me doing this? What danger could I possibly face? A chill ran through Fang Hao's heart, but his fighting spirit was strong. Bastard, old bastard, I messed with your cake, are you guys anxious now? However, this is just the beginning. Su Rou said, Fang Hao, don't think you're so clever. Your account, where did your money come from, and how much did you earn, we all know. Wait a minute, who are we? You and your old lover? Su Rou fell silent. Confessed without being prompted, huh? Fang Hao coldly said, you know or don't know, what does it matter to me? Oh, it does matter, we have a grudge. I hate you guys to death, I hope you have a miserable life. Su Rou hesitated, staring straight at Fang Hao. Fang Hao continued, Su Rou, don't treat the present me as the scapegoat from 4 years ago, and don't see me as a fool who hasn't changed in 4 years. Now I have tens of millions in wealth, decent medical skills, houses, and cars. I plan to find a pretty and virtuous woman for a second marriage. I think, with my conditions, I can still find a young girl. Su Rou's pupils dimmed, as if something in her heart was about to be cut off. Fang Hao went on, Su Rou, look at what you have now. You're with an old man who can't see the light of day. You dare not tell your parents, your relatives, and friends. What can he give you? Can he satisfy your needs? Oh, he's old and can't perform, but he still has hands, tongue, and perverted methods, right? And you, daring to be played with, you're really cheap. Pretending to be noble and pure in front of me, and in front of your old lover, what a lowly person you are. Su Rou, do you know, seeing you now, I feel disgusted. Fang Hao, stop it. Why shouldn't I say it? The mouth is on my body, can you control it? And besides, since you dare to do it, why not let me talk about it? Oh, I must have hit the nail on the head. Your old lover just wants to toy with you, never thought of being responsible, right? I'm really happy about that. Cheap woman, I can't stand to see you doing well. The more miserable you are, the happier I am. One day, I'll tell your parents about you and your old lover, maybe it won't make them furious. Or expose it to the public, let everyone know what kind of woman you really are, even though you come from a noble family. Husband, don't be like this, you're not that kind of person. No, I am that kind of person. Don't call me husband, we're divorced, I have no rights or obligations to you. Can't we stop fighting every time we meet? Didn't we agree to part amicably? Why do we have to argue every time we meet? Joke. I don't even want to see such a rotten woman like you. Seeing you makes me sick. You humiliated me for 4 years, and you expect me to respect you? Disgusting. Fang Hao, calm down. The past, we've gained and lost. Let's not dwell on it. In these 4 years, have I harmed you? After the divorce, I haven't harmed you either. I want to give you money, houses, and cars, but you didn't want them. At least, I've been trying to compensate you. I'm just a woman, I'm just a weak woman, why do you have to be so aggressive towards me? Wow, pretending to be pitiful now? If Sun Sini hadn't told me that her miserable fate was all orchestrated by you, I wouldn't have known. You're a cunning socialite. In these 4 years, you've managed to use my trust without leaking a drop. And you say you're weak? Husband, let's not talk about other things. But you misunderstood the purpose of my visit this time. Hey, you really misunderstood me. I came to tell you not to risk earning money that doesn't belong to you. Oh, are you frustrated? Sorry, I didn't want to get involved in these things that distract me from my PhD studies, but since it can make you unhappy, why not? Don't worry, I haven't earned enough yet. Husband, do you really think, on you, there are no weaknesses at all? The 500,000 from Sujia? Guess for yourself. But if we really tear our faces apart, none of us will benefit, and you won't be better than me. You definitely won't want that day to come. I have other evidence falling into Su Rou's hands. Fang Hao couldn't figure it out. Coming from a rural background, his parents were honest people, and for generations, they were farmers with proper education. What leverage could he possibly have? During his student days, he didn't cause trouble, studied diligently, entered the provincial medical university after graduation, and never engaged in any malpractice. What leverage could there be? As for the money from Su Jia, she was the CEO of a major corporation, surely there wouldn't be evidence of bribery. That would be self-destructive. After all, bribery is a crime. At that time, Lu Yu was also present, standing on my side. Su Jia couldn't falsely accuse me of bribery, right? What leverage did I have? Su Rou, are you trying to scare me? Husband, stop fooling around. Be a good doctor and live a peaceful life. Consider these tens of millions as compensation for you. Otherwise, bear the consequences. Su Ro, your words are really laughable. Is it funny? Husband, pay attention to Zhang Jun's group. He's about to pay a price for the 200 or 300 million he swallowed. At that time, he won't know how much he has to pay. Although Ling Tian is old, his body is aging, but his abilities and experience have accumulated over the years. Compared to him, you guys are too naive. Alright, I've said enough. Take care of yourself. Su Ro went into the room, had a conversation with her son, and then left directly. Dad, Mom said she'll come to pick me up next time and let me live with her, but I don't like my new dad. What should I do? The son came over and asked. Fang Hao frowned and said, You're not going anywhere, you'll stay with Dad. Now that you've played enough, go take a shower and then sleep. The son acknowledged with an "oh" and lowered his head to enter the bathroom. Fang Hao had no heart to comfort his son because Su Ro, whether threatening or for some other purpose, revealed something. Ling Tian was going to deal with Zhang Jun's group, to recover the money lost in the stock market. Wait, that stock, is it a bait stock? Fang Hao thought for a moment, called Sister Qin to inquire about their previous investment in Tianyi Group, whether they also touched Tianji Pharmaceuticals stock. However, he heard a stranger's voice, informing him that Sister Qin had been isolated and protected because she had intimate relations with Zhang Jun and might be pregnant. Is this, upper-class society's reproductive protection? On this day, Fang Hao arrived at the hospital and found two young men in Zhongshan-style suits guarding the door of Zhang Jun's ward. When he approached, they reported that they were from the Jiangdong City branch of a unit related to the National Economic Planning Agency. He said he was the attending physician and wanted to go in to examine Zhang Jun, but he was not allowed direct access. They insisted on searching him and removing any items unrelated to treatment, such as his phone. Su Ro reminded me to pay attention to Zhang Jun's group, and now Zhang Jun's place is under surveillance. Is this a coincidence? Su Ro, is this a warning from your old lover? Chapter 282, Survival of the Fittest. When Fang Hao saw Zhang Jun again, the latter's complexion was not good, pale and discouraged. Fang Hao didn't ask what happened, nor did he take the initiative to blame. Instead, he routinely checked Zhang Jun's pulse and asked, Brother Zhang, your pulse is fluctuating a lot, more erratic than a few days ago. Something on your mind? Bro, the money I promised you may not be possible. Tianji Pharmaceutical is Ling Tian's stock, and Akin accidentally made money from Ling Tian. She has to return it to him. Did my sister-in-law not tell Zhang Jun that I operated that account, or is Zhang Jun deliberately testing me? Su Ro already believes it's me, that can't be baseless. Fang Hao said, What kind of rule is this? He can earn from others, but others can't earn from him? Survival of the fittest. He is the strong, and we are the weak. So, I can't give you this money. When I say something, I won't go back on my word. I'll give you 50 houses, each worth around 2 million. This. Truly a person with 500 houses, casually offering 50. Fang Hao hurriedly said, Brother Zhang, you're exaggerating. I can't accept your houses. It would seem like I'm after your property, treating it as payment for curing you. If that's the case, I might not have the chance to wear these clothes again. Besides, that stock was recommended by me to my sister-in-law, and I also bought it. I just didn't know there was something fishy inside. Again, I shouldn't have earned money beyond my understanding. Brother, it won't do. I, Zhang Jun, can't owe favors to others. Then let's talk about this after you recover and leave the hospital. I know you are someone who remembers favors, so you have to stay alive and repay me. Brother. Touched, Zhang Jun nodded vigorously and said, I promise. During acupuncture, Fang Hao asked again, those two outside, they have a significant background. How did they end up here? I don't know if I should tell you this, but I don't have any countermeasures now. Over the past 2 years, due to continuous medication and chemotherapy, my thinking has suffered a lot, not as sharp as before. If it weren't for Akin's loyalty, my company would probably have collapsed because of me. This time, some overseas funds entered a subsidiary of my group, and the source of this fund is under investigation by the country. Until the issue is clarified, as the head of the group, even if I'm sick, I have to be monitored. Oh, Brother Zhang, I don't quite understand. What do you mean by problematic overseas funds? We need to talk about this in detail, and it could take 3 days and nights. The funds we received this time are considered illegal offshore money laundering assets. We can prove our innocence, that's not a problem. But the impact, sigh, it's a bit unlucky. Is my luck really out of date? Brother Zhang, I also believe you're innocent. Fang Hao could empathize. When he bought porridge for Li Wei, he was directly thrown at. Li Wei's condition worsened, causing ventricular fibrillation. Fang Hao revived him, but had to apologize to him in person. During that time, he had to take leave and was almost deprived of his medical qualifications. Even if he was innocent, he was still punished by the hospital, unable to enjoy rewards and benefits. If not for subsequent efforts and luck, he would have been ruined. Even if Zhang Jun proves his innocence this time, he will be blacklisted by the country. His company's business activities will be closely monitored, and any attempts by Zhang Jun to make some extra income through illicit means will be nearly impossible. No windfall, no wealth. Zhang Jun's company is likely to collapse. Is this what Su Rou was talking about? Does Xingling Tian have such great capabilities? Fang Hao knew his comforting words were feeble. He might as well give Zhang Jun a comfortable sleep. After concluding the treatment, he went to the office and encountered Zhang Jing. Judging by Zhang Jing's expression, the visitor didn't bring good news. Seeing Fang Hao open the medical records and test reports, Zhang Jing preempted, Fang Hao, let's not talk about Jun's matter for now. I want to ask, do you know Xingling Tian? As expected, he was under suspicion. Zhang Jun understood this but remained silent, thinking that I didn't harm him for my own gain. However, Zhang Jing, a shrewd figure in the system, wouldn't overlook such details. Fang Hao responded, just like you, Zhang Bureau, I'm a person on the ground, without connections to those in high places. Zhang Jing didn't believe him and said, your father-in-law, Su Buiyuan, is a professor. He is well acquainted with Xingling Tian. Does Zhang Jing suspect that I conspired with Xingling Tian to plot against the Zhang family? Fang Hao explained, I've divorced Su Rou, and I have no relationship with the Su family. I've been a son-in-law of the Su family for 4 years, but in reality, the Su family hasn't regarded me seriously. Zhang Jing asked, is that so? Then tell me, what do you know about the Blue Sky Group? To prove my innocence? Judge for yourself. Fang Hao replied, Blue Sky Group, Jiulong Group, and the recent Tianji Pharmaceutical, I say it's all a coincidence. Do you believe that? I didn't believe it initially, but I investigated you. Your background is clean, without any issues. Also, now that you're divorced and raising a son, you have no reason to harm Jun'er. The problem Jun'er encountered this time is a framed setup, classified in Jiangdong City. As long as Jun'er appeals to the National Bureau, once reviewed, he'll be completely cleared. Indeed, it's Xingling Tian's framing. Fang Hao almost blurted it out, but that would only raise more suspicions. Classified in Jiangdong City. Just as Su Rou said, although Xingling Tian is old, it only indicates physical aging. But in terms of intelligence, experience, and management, he's becoming more profound. Fang Hao asked, so, how much will Zhang Gu lose this time? Unknown. Only 2 words from Zhang Jing. A game? Zhang Jing and Xingling Tian are probably playing a game, and whoever wins will have a slightly lower cost. Zhang Jing glanced at Fang Hao and said, if you can distance yourself from the Su family, you might get Su Buiyuan to intervene, so Xingling Tian won't trouble the younger generation. Su Buiyuan and Xingling Tian are old classmates with a very strong relationship. Xingling Tian can deny face to anyone, but he has to give face to Su Buiyuan. Is Su Buiyuan that influential? Nevertheless, Zhang Jing is right. Su Buiyuan and Xingling Tian do have a strong connection. Xingling Tian is quite casual in front of Su Buiyuan, spitting, using foul language, talking about women, and Su Buiyuan doesn't mind at all. Fang Hao said, Director Zhang, are you suggesting that if Su Buiyuan intervenes, it can alleviate Zhang Ji's current situation? If so, I can go talk to Su Buiyuan. After all, he is my ex-father-in-law, and I can have some words with him. He knew about Su Buiyuan's affair with his female assistant, and Su Buiyuan cherished his feathers immensely. Plus, he wanted to test whether going to Su Buiyuan would eventually reach the ears of his ex-wife. Would she be afraid then? Chapter 283, Another Lawsuit. Soon after, Lu Jing finished her clinic and came over. Seeing Fang Hao analyzing the medical condition with the printer beside him continuously printing professional medical foreign language materials, she took a glance and realized she could only understand half of it. She thought to herself, maybe I've underestimated Fang Hao's intelligence. Fang Hao, you don't need to listen to what old Zhang and my dad said. The money you earned from stock trading is yours, and no one can take it away. If they ask you to hand it over, it's just bullying. I'll talk to them. Lu Jing set the tone. Lu Jing is indeed a thigh I should hold on to tightly. Fang Hao nodded and said, all right, then I won't hand it over. With these tens of millions, I don't need to bow down to Yang Wenjin for a living. If she loses her mind and decides to dismiss me directly one day, I'll leave first. Hee. Lu Jing's expression slightly tightened for a moment, realizing that Fang Jing can still make jokes, indicating that Zhang Jing and his son haven't made things difficult for him. Indeed, she heard Fang Hao say, Director, you should advise Zhang Gun not to mention giving me houses anymore. He just said he would give me 50 houses. How can I get along with you all if he insists on this? 50 houses, should be accepted. With these houses, if you find it troublesome, you can establish a small company specifically for management. Let the company's people handle the sales or rentals. Old Zhang's model is still applicable and can be copied. Fang Hao neither agreed nor disagreed. He really couldn't accept Zhang Jun's 50 houses. When he tried to pay for the foreign papers, he found that he couldn't. He tried several times, even changing payment methods, but none worked. After a few more attempts, the payment button turned gray. Lu Jing said, your account has been frozen. You need to go to the bank with your ID to unfreeze it. She came over to scan the payment for a reading and downloading fee of 150 yuan. I haven't done anything. Why did the bank freeze my assets? Seriously. Fang Hao called the bank, but the inquiry was fruitless. After arranging the hospital work, he went straight to the central bank. As an esteemed VIP customer, he was led to the office of the deputy director, the beautiful woman that Qingyu had seen last time. The deputy director, Su Hong. Fang Hao looked at the nameplate on her desk and said directly, Director Su, why was my account frozen? Did I violate any laws? Su Hong checked and said, Mr. Fang, your assets are unclear, so they were frozen. Unclear? Are you joking? Every penny in my account can be traced, and I've paid all the taxes I owe. You froze it without asking me. Do you know how inconvenient and damaging this is for me? As the director, you must unfreeze it immediately. Fang Hao's account had millions, making him a wealthy individual. He didn't need to show face to the bank. Besides, he felt something was off with Su Hong, who stared at him like those hostesses in nightclubs would. I can't unfreeze it. Then I'll go find the president. Fang Hao left and went directly to find the president, the current head. The president was a Mediterranean man in his 50s or 60s, with a round face, shiny with oil, a burly figure. Fang Hao couldn't tell whether the perfume was sprayed on his designer suit or his bloated, pale body, making him feel a bit pungent, almost sneezing. Fang Hao explained his purpose directly. The president's face showed a smiling expression, like a laughing Buddha, and he said, This is Director Su's business. You need to deal with her. But she won't unfreeze it. As the president, don't you have the authority? I don't have that authority. Director Su came from above. Although she holds the title of deputy director, her seniority in the banking system is higher than mine. I see. Fang Hao left the president's office without looking for Su Hong. Instead, he went back to the hospital. Dr. Fang, over here. A woman stood in front of the elevator, blocking the door for Fang Hao to come over. It was Li Dong's wife, Li Sunshi. Fang Hao had a sudden thought. After entering the elevator and expressing his thanks, he directly asked, I never asked before, what does your husband do? Did he inherit Cheng Lao's mantle? No, my husband works in civil engineering. Both my eldest brother-in-law, second brother-in-law, eldest sister-in-law, and second sister-in-law are in different industries. None of them continued in the profession of mother-in-law. Because of this, they have been criticized by mother-in-law. What about the younger generation? My daughter plans to follow in her grandmother's footsteps. After the college entrance examination, she will go to the School of Political Science and Law. The other younger relatives, however, are not interested. No one in your Li family, but what about the Qing family? There are quite a few people on the in-law side striving in the political and legal system, inheriting the tradition of the Qing family. Last time, Qingyu, who offended you, is one of the outstanding ones. Outstanding? Yes, originally, Qingyu studied finance, aiming to enter the banking system. Oh, by the way, I heard you've made money from stock trading. If you go to the central bank for business, you might meet the beautiful female president Su Hong, who is Qingyu's classmate. That beautiful president likes young and handsome guys like you. Be careful. Could it be such a coincidence? Is she warning me? Right, Li Jun has been following me. There must be channels for internal communication within the Li family. Fang Hao said, How do you know I made money from stock trading? Did I break the law? Don't worry. Mother-in-law said that since the existence of stocks is legal, the money earned from stock trading is also legal. You are not a public servant, and no one can stop you from trading stocks. After all, doctors also need to make a living. Haha, your mother-in-law is really understanding. Fang Hao chuckled. After refreshing his mind, he went back to his office and drafted 2 lawsuits along with the corresponding materials. He then sent them by express delivery to the provincial high court. Before leaving work, Fang Hao was busy treating another severely myasthenic patient who had been newly admitted. When he finished, he received news from Qing Lao's side. He finished what was on hand first before going over. In Qing Lao's ward, there was a prosecutor in high-level uniform. He directly said, "Dr. Fang, I pressed the button. We received your express delivery of the lawsuit. Are you suing the central bank? Are you sure?" "Yes, they froze my assets, causing inconvenience. One of the obstacles was that I couldn't buy relevant medical literature, hindering my research. I've been to the central bank, but they didn't unfreeze it or give me a convincing reason. That's why I want to sue them. I've prepared the relevant written reasons and evidence." Fang Hao looked at Qing Lao and said, "Qing Lao, I really didn't want to disturb you. Otherwise, I would have consulted you first. But now that you know, I'll ask, what should I do in this situation? Be justified and sue them." Qing Lao replied impartially, but in her heart, she was vaguely worried. Fang Hao sued Su's family and wanted a divorce, and then he sued the central bank, including Su's family's girl. What result does he want? He's also treating Zhang's family's boy. Is it possible that Zhang Jing, the old fox, pushed him out? Chapter 284, Crossing the River Pon. "Daddy, isn't Mom coming to see me today?" When the son came home and didn't see Su Ro, he was a bit disappointed. He looked up with round eyes at Fang Hao. "She won't come today. Tomorrow, she'll take you to Grandma's house for dinner. Daddy will be working overtime tomorrow, so I won't be able to cook for you." Fang Hao said so. Since he mentioned reporting to the police last time, his ex-wife didn't come to his house privately again. Before that, she didn't have a key, so she directly hired a locksmith company to unlock and replace the locks. His ex-wife didn't care about this little money and acted recklessly. "Great. I'll see Mom tomorrow." The son happily threw off his clothes and hung them on the doorframe of the room. Before Fang Hao could go over, the son climbed up along the edge of the door, showing a sports talent that even amazed Fang Hao. This kid. Seeing the son safely come down, Fang Hao didn't say much. He didn't encourage, advocate, criticize, or stop. He let the son develop naturally and maintain his innate nature. Later, he received a call from his parents from his hometown, asking him to bring his child over. The old people missed their grandson. He didn't know how to explain. Even though he had been divorced for some time, he said he was busy with work at the hospital recently. When he had time, he would take the child back. On that day, Su Hong came to the office and found a package. Opening it, she was shocked to find it was a court summons. She was actually being sued. After consulting with the provincial high court, she confirmed that it was true, and the person suing her was Fang Hao. "Fang Hao? He's suing me? Is he crazy?" At the same time, a call from higher-ups came, directly criticizing her for not being meticulous in her work. She was reported, and now she had to temporarily put aside her work and return to the headquarters for questioning. Does Fang Hao have this much power? Su Hong was dumbfounded. She was still waiting for Fang Hao to yield to her before she would unfreeze the account. Unexpectedly, Fang Hao turned around and sued her, putting her in a passive position. She immediately called Qingyu to complain. "Qing, something crazy is happening in the political and legal system. I've actually been sued, and Fang Hao is the one who filed the lawsuit." Qingyu on the phone was surprised and asked, "What's going on? Who is suing you?" "Fang Hao." "Fang Hao? Well, that's not surprising. My aunt is receiving treatment from him. If Fang Hao files a lawsuit, my aunt will secretly give him the green light." "What is he suing you for?" "He's suing me for freezing his account." "Don't panic. I'll ask Xiao Rou. No matter how panicked I am, it won't help. I received a call from above. I've also been reported. I have to go back and explain myself. I won't be in Jiangdong City for a while." Su Hong hung up the phone, looking very depressed, serious, and very discouraged. Her beautiful face seemed unable to attract Fang Hao? This doesn't make sense. In the meantime, Qingyu also contacted Su Ro, and the latter was equally surprised. She didn't expect her ex-husband to be so resolute, actually filing a lawsuit against the central bank and Su Hong, and it seemed like he had won. Who is helping him? She was taking care of her daughter, preparing breakfast, when at this moment, Zhongling Tian came in. Zhongling Tian took the spoon to feed Yue Xia, but Yue Xia refused to open her mouth. Su Rou on the side was anxious. Yue Xia had been in the hospital for so many days, even though she saw Zhongling Tian every day, she still didn't let him feed her, showing no signs of blood relationship with Zhongling Tian. If her daughter accepted Zhongling Tian, and she got Zhongling Tian's promise, she would have more confidence. Yue Xia, let daddy feed you. Open your mouth and eat a little. Su Rou coaxed her daughter. He's not my daddy. My daddy is Daddy Fang Hao. Mommy, I want Daddy Fang Hao. I miss Daddy Fang Hao. Yue Xia reached out, pushing away the spoon near her mouth, causing most of the food to spill on the bed sheet in front of her and even some onto Zhongling Tian's hands, shirt, and even his pants. Why are you so unreasonable? Are you still my biological daughter? Zhongling Tian suddenly got angry, glaring at his daughter. Frightened, Yue Xia started crying, and the data on the vital sign monitor beside her also changed, with one set of data triggering an alarm. Zhong Tian, what are you doing? You scared her like this. Su Rou was shocked, scolding him. Su, I don't know how to take care of her. You do it. Zhongling Tian, scolded by Su Rou, actually wavered. He sighed, leaving first. Su Rou spent a great deal of effort to comfort her daughter. Looking at her daughter's swollen and teary eyes, she felt extremely aggrieved. At this moment, she missed Fang Hao immensely. If Fang Hao were here, he would definitely be able to comfort and take care of their daughter. After putting her daughter to sleep, she went outside to the office. Seeing Zhongling Tian in a different set of clothes, she said, Yue Xia is your biological daughter, your only flesh and blood. How can you treat her like this? Su, it was my fault just now. I apologize to you. Let's not talk about this. Zhongling Tian handed Su Rou a copy of the lawsuit and said, take a look. Little Turtle has grown up, he actually filed a lawsuit. Seeing the copy of Fang Hao's lawsuit, Su Rou understood the reason for the legal action. She said, this matter is not Fang Hao's fault. I told him that the money was his compensation, and he could use it as he pleased. You don't have to pursue it. But you froze his account through Su Hong, it's strange if he doesn't sue her. She glanced at Zhongling Tian and added, you don't need to be so petty about just a few million. Once Su Hong unfreezes it, everything will be fine. Why worry? Husband? Has Su not forgotten Fang Hao? Zhongling Tian was displeased and said, Little Turtle is a fool. He thinks he's brave, daring to sue the bank. But little did he know, he became a pawn in Zhang Jing's hands. Zhang Jing took advantage of the situation to target Su Hong. If Zhang Jing succeeds in driving away Su Hong this time, central bank will fall into their hands. The decade-long layout of central bank will be in vain. Su Rou thought Fang Hao couldn't have such great ability. Perhaps it was an unintentional act. Blue Sky Group, Julong Group, Extreme Sky Stocks, and now Central Bank, everything is in turmoil because of Little Turtle. Is he trying to defy the heavens? I have to deal with him before he continues to disrupt my plans. Zhongling Tian declared fiercely. No, my husband has a paternity test for Yue Xia, proving she's your biological child. If this test is made public, my parents will know everything. You haven't figured out how to face my parents, you shouldn't go after my husband. Su Rou quickly tried to dissuade him. Husband? Su, what's wrong with you today? Did you forget that you divorced Little Turtle? You still call him your husband. What are you trying to provoke in me? I didn't say anything wrong. Fang Hao is the only man I've married, according to the law. He is my husband. Even if we're divorced, I still consider him my husband. You really make me angry. I'm going to deal with Little Turtle. Don't go too far. Chapter 285, Blind Worry. A day passed, and Fang Hao went to pick up his son. He found his ex-wife waiting near the kindergarten, and she took their son as soon as he appeared. Fang Hao returned home, prepared a simple dinner for himself, making do with what he had. At 9 in the evening, Su Rou returned with their son. While Fang Hao was bathing their son, Su Rou entered Fang Hao's study. She noticed many books, especially in the field of economic and financial management. Judging by their placement, it seemed Fang Hao had gone through most of them. My husband can see the uniqueness of Tianji pharmaceutical stocks, and it's not just luck. She approached the desk and saw the organized folders on the computer, still in Fang Hao style, with published papers marked separately. The stack had grown high, indicating Fang Hao had been diligently researching medicine during this time and had achieved notable results. Fang Hao didn't let the divorce bring him down. Su-ro couldn't decide if she felt happy or sad about it. "Why aren't you leaving? What are you doing here?" Fang Hao, noticing his ex-wife hadn't left even after tucking in their son, expressed his dissatisfaction. "Just want to chat, discuss recent events," Su-ro said. "You sued Su Hong, received an apology, compensation, and unfreezing of your accounts. It seems like you won, but do you know you were manipulated?" "Oh?" Fang Hao frowned. "Zhang Jing, the cunning fox, used your lawsuit against Su Hong, with assistance from Mr. Cheng for evidence. He directly had someone report Su Hong, and the headquarters transferred her away. You achieved your goal, but you were used as a pawn. Zhang Jing was indeed a cunning fox." Su-ro probably knew all this because Hang Jing had informed her, and both Zhang Jing and Zhengling Tian were sly characters, standing at a higher starting point than others. A wise player considers the entire board, while an unwise one focuses only on capturing pieces. Fang Hao responded, "But what does that have to do with me? My goal was to unfreeze my assets. If anyone freezes my assets like Su Hong did, I'll sue them just like I sued her. Just like with you, if you encroach on my interests, I'll sue you too." He sneered, saying, "You're telling me all this. What's your purpose?" Su-ro explained, "I'm doing this for your own good. Zhang Jing will soon realize he has to pay a price." Ling Tian said that over these years, Zhang Jing hasn't gained any advantage from him. This time won't be an exception. "Husband, for your sake, I hope you don't get involved in such foolish things again." "Foolish things? Messing with Zhengling Tian's woman and money?" "Su-ro, I really look down on you, truly disdain you. Su Hong is Zhengling Tian's woman, right? You actually work closely with such a woman. Don't you find it disgusting? Let me count how many women Zhengling Tian has had: Yang Wenjin, Zhou Yun, Su Jia, Qing Yu, Su Hong, Zhou Jiajia, Yu, and there are probably more I don't know about. I just don't understand, does he have some special charm? Enough to make you and these women infatuated, willing to throw yourselves at him." Su-ro hugged herself, feeling lonely, her body slightly trembling. Just as Fang Hao mentioned, she also disliked this aspect of Zhengling Tian, but every time, he managed to persuade her. Fang Hao took a step forward, whispered in Su-ro's ear, "Zhengling Tian can even touch someone like Yang Wenjin. Your mother was as beautiful as you when she was young. Has he laid his hands on her too? Think about it carefully." "Fang Hao, you're being offensive." Su-ro raised her hand to slap Fang Hao, but he grabbed her wrist. She stared coldly at Fang Hao, saying, "Don't think so disgustingly." "Disgusting? You just realized it now? Turns out you still have some standards? I thought being with him would make you break all social norms, finding it thrilling. Su-ro, you don't need to keep pretending to be an innocent lily in front of me. Someday, if you say I'm too naive, the truth is, it's you who's naive." Fang Hao shook off Su-ro's hand, saying, "Go and be with that disgusting old man. Get out." "Yeah, we're both too naive." Su-ro gave a mocking smile, locked eyes with Fang Hao for a moment, then left directly. This scumbag. Fang Hao seemed to have gleaned something from the way his ex-wife left, giving him a sense of telepathy. It irritated him a lot. "I'd rather have a spark with a dog than have any connection with this scumbag." Words spoken without intention, but heard with purpose. Su-ro took those words from Fang Hao to heart. After returning home, she went directly to Su Buyuan. Su Buyuan had entertained an old friend from the capital with tea instead of alcohol that night. Still unsatisfied, he took out some red wine at home and had a small drink. When he saw his daughter approaching, he put away the wine glass, saying, "You're pregnant now, you shouldn't be near alcohol. If you have something to say it from a distance. What's there to fear? In this house, you're an alcoholic, Fang Hao is an alcoholic, what's the harm in having one or two more alcoholics?" Su-ro approached, asking in a low voice, "Is Mom asleep?" "She's asleep. Tomorrow, she's going to the capital for the mathematics group's commendation ceremony. Thanks to the idea Fang Hao gave her, she secured the project, and she's delighted about it." Fang Hao. Su-ro felt a sense of regret. Just when her parents were starting to approve of Fang Hao, they ended up divorcing. Now that Fang Hao was becoming more successful, her regret deepened. She asked, "Dad, I heard that before Mom met you, she had been in a relationship with someone else. Is that true?" "Who said that?" "Impossible. Your mother is such a proud person. Besides me, she wouldn't look at anyone else. Su Buiyuan, pleased with himself, savored the red wine in his cup. Even if she didn't like Xingling Tian, Su Ro thought about how many people pursued her mother before she met her father. She hesitated to say Xingling Tian's name, fearing her father might catch on. Yes, and there were quite a few. But none of them succeeded, they were all losers. Dad, you're amazing. Su Ro approached, glanced at Su Buiyuan's hair, and said, Dad, you have some white hair again. Your dye job has flaws, let me pluck them out for you. She went over and started plucking Su Buiyuan's hair. Ouch, my dear, be gentle. You'll tear my scalp off. Su Buiyuan winced. Su Ro ignored his complaints, turned around, took out a small bag, collected the hair, and then entered her mother's room to gather some samples. Fang Hao's paternity test for Yue Xia had taught her a lesson. Despite Fang Hao's disgusting remark about challenging social norms, it served as a warning. In a rush, she went back to Tianyi Hospital, found Director Ma, who was still at the hospital, and asked him to arrange for a paternity test. Director Ma, thinking Su Ro was doing it to save Yue Xia, promptly arranged for the test. Su Ro anxiously awaited the results, staying up all night until dawn. When she saw that the genetic match between her and Su Buiyuan and Zhou Fun was 99.999999%, she breathed a sigh of relief. Fang Hao, you jerk, just because of your words, you made me worry for nothing.